Picture a small grocery shop in Grantham, England. It's 1925, and a little girl named Margaret Roberts is growing up, surrounded by tins of food, fresh vegetables, and conversations about hard work and responsibility. The Roberts family isn't wealthy, but they are determined, driven, and principled. From an early age, young Margaret learns the values of self-reliance and perseverance, values that will shape her future as the Iron Lady. But Margaret isn't content with just helping in the shop. She has bigger dreams. With her sharp mind and unshakable determination, she earns a place at Oxford University, where she studies chemistry. While science captures her mind, politics soon captures her heart. She's not just a student of academics, Margaret is a student of life, observing the world around her, and slowly developing her vision for the future. So what makes a young girl from a small town rise to become one of the most formidable leaders of the 20th century? Ambition? Intelligence? Or perhaps an unyielding belief in her principles? One thing's for sure, Margaret Thatcher's rise to power was anything but ordinary. The year is 1959. After years of hard work, Margaret Thatcher is elected as the Member of Parliament for Finchley. She's one of only a few women in Parliament, but Margaret isn't here to just make up the numbers, she's here to make a difference. As a young MP, she quickly gains a reputation for being sharp, tenacious, and unafraid to challenge the status quo. In a male-dominated political world, Margaret Thatcher's voice is loud, clear, and full of conviction. She speaks about issues close to her heart: education, family, and personal responsibility. But this is only the beginning. Margaret isn't satisfied with being just another MP. She has her eyes set on something much bigger. Her determination doesn't go unnoticed. Soon, Margaret Thatcher is appointed to the front bench, and her journey toward revolution begins. Fast forward to 1975. The UK is in the middle of economic turmoil, strikes, inflation, and a feeling of national decline hang over the country like a cloud. The Conservative Party is in disarray, losing elections, and struggling to connect with voters. Enter Margaret Thatcher, who shocks the political world by challenging, and defeating, the sitting leader of her own party. At this point, the world starts paying attention. A woman leading one of Britain's oldest and most powerful political parties? It's unheard of. But Margaret Thatcher isn't focused on making history as the first woman to lead the Conservatives, she's focused on changing the country. She speaks of reform, of breaking free from the economic stagnation, and restoring pride in the nation. But leading a party in opposition is one thing. Leading a country is something else entirely. And in 1979, Margaret Thatcher is about to face the ultimate test, becoming Prime Minister. It's 1979, and the UK is ready for change. The Labour government, led by James Callaghan, is struggling to deal with the economic crisis, while strikes and power cuts leave the country in disarray. Thatcher, with her clear vision of a free market economy, cuts through the noise. Her message is simple: the government should interfere less, and individuals should be free to pursue their ambitions. The voters respond. In May 1979, Margaret Thatcher is elected as Britain's first female Prime Minister. Her victory isn't just a political triumph, it's a revolution. She steps into 10 Downing Street with a steely resolve, knowing full well that her vision for the country won't be easy to achieve. But Thatcher doesn't shy away from hard work, and she's about to show the world just how determined she is. And so begins the era of Thatcherism, a political philosophy built on free markets, individual responsibility, and an iron will to succeed. Thatcher's first years in office are anything but smooth. The UK is facing high unemployment, inflation, and economic decline. Thatcher's solution? Bold reforms. She cuts government spending, reduces the power of trade unions, and sells off state-owned industries. It's a drastic shift toward a free market economy, and not everyone is happy about it. The Iron Lady, as she's now called, faces fierce opposition. Unemployment rises, protests erupt, and her popularity plummets. But Thatcher isn't one to back down. In fact, she doubles down. In her view, the short-term pain is necessary for long-term gain. And slowly, the economy begins to recover. Her policies may have been controversial, but they reshaped the British economy. Thatcher believed in the power of the individual, and she was willing to fight tooth and nail to create a society where people could thrive on their own merit. In 1982, Margaret Thatcher's resolve is tested once again, but this time on the international stage. Argentina invades the Falkland Islands, a British territory in the South Atlantic. Many expect Thatcher to seek a diplomatic solution, but the Iron Lady has other plans. With determination and military precision, she launches a task force to retake the islands. It's a bold move, and many question whether Britain can win such a distant war. But Thatcher's confidence never wavers. After 10 weeks of intense fighting, British forces successfully reclaim the Falklands, and Margaret Thatcher returns home a national hero. The Falklands War cements Thatcher's reputation as a leader who will stop at nothing to defend Britain's interests. Her popularity soars, and she wins the 1983 general election by a landslide. But even in the wake of victory, Thatcher's toughest battles are fought at home. In 1984, the National Union of Mine Workers launches a massive strike, protesting Thatcher's plans to close unprofitable coal mines. The strike becomes a showdown between Thatcher and the unions, between her vision of a modern, free-market Britain and the old industrial order. The strike lasts for nearly a year, dividing the country and leading to intense social unrest. But once again, Thatcher doesn't back down. She believes that modernizing the economy is essential, and in the end, the strike collapses. The unions are weakened, and Thatcher's vision for a new Britain moves forward. It's a moment that defines her legacy, both as a champion of free markets and as a divisive figure who reshaped Britain's social fabric. But like all political careers, even Thatcher's reign would come to an end. By the late 1980s, her popularity wanes, especially after the introduction of the controversial poll tax. Protests erupt, and members of her own party begin to question her leadership. In 1990, after more than a decade as Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher resigns from office. Though her time in power has ended, her legacy remains one of the most profound in British history. Love her or loathe her, there's no denying that Margaret Thatcher changed Britain forever. She was a woman of principle, a leader of conviction, and, above all, the Iron Lady who revolutionized the nation. Margaret Thatcher's story is one of ambition, determination, and an unshakable belief in her vision. She broke barriers, shattered expectations, and left an indelible mark on Britain and the world. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the life and legacy of the Iron Lady. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more incredible stories from history.